All right. Well, welcome everybody to this presentation on Episcopal's volleyball program. I'm Alex Smith. I work here in the admissions office at Episcopal, and joining me are Coach Adams, Coach Echo, and Zoe, who are all members of the volleyball program. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, we can get started.
Hi, I guess I'll start. I'm Coach Adams. This is my 7th season at Episcopal, although Coach Echo and we kind of did some math before we started. We have well over 30 years of coaching experience between us. I'm going to let you all do the math and figure out that. So it's a great place, is Episcopal. It's pretty awesome. The facilities are outstanding. And in addition to coaching volleyball, I also work with the softball program, and I work in the technology department. So you'll see me early on as I help you get your iPad set up and printers on your laptop and anything else that Episcopal needs you to have to function in your classroom and on dorm. And speaking of dorm, I'm also on Anderson dorm because I'm a freshman advisor. So if you're a freshman, you might be lucky enough to get me.
Hi, I'm Coach Echo. I have been with Coach Adams for, like she said, 7 years here at Episcopal. In addition to my volleyball duties, I am an English teacher, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, as well as the dorm head of Dalrymple, which is an upperclassmen girls dorm. And I also am the director of the Writing Center. So I'm excited to meet everybody.
Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm a junior.
And Zoe's a little not bragging on herself as much, but Zoe walked onto our team as a freshman. She's an outstanding libero, excellent setter, and an all-around outstanding player, 3-year varsity starter for us. And quite frankly, she could probably play middle hitter too, but we just need her elsewhere. We have a really competitive program, both on the JV level and the varsity level. Each team roster is roughly, there is no set thing. It really depends on how all the break is, but each team roster is roughly 12, sometimes more, sometimes less. But the JV team is comprised of novice to intermediate players that get a whole lot of hands-on skill work with Coach English and Coach Urquhart, who have also got a lot of years combined coaching, and very competitive. They do really well at the Hopper tournament at the end of the JV season. And quite frankly, we're one big team, so that JV program is a feeder program to our varsity team as well. The varsity squad, highly competitive. We have finished in the top 4 of our division every year that Coach Echo, I take that back, not our first year. Our first year was very fascinating. Love to tell you that story. But over the past 6 years, we finished in the top 4 of the ISL division team, and we're in the upper division, which is the AA. Very competitive. The top 2, some of those years that Zoe was here, we've won the division a couple times for the lower division, the single A, and we've advanced to the state tournament at the end of the season. Just really looking forward to adding new players. We get mostly players that are familiar, have got a really good skill set. We're happy to teach more skills, but we'd like the varsity player to have a good sense of the game strategy. And Coach Echo and I like to really empower the players when they're on the court with a lot of chaos drills, because while we can do so much from the sideline and helping them see open areas, what we can't do is be on the court with them. So we give them little pointers, but it's really somebody holding the flag, taking the charge, and leading the team on the court to how we're going to get that next point and really rallying the troops. So a lot of chaos drills help people function in disaster and really pull out the win. And it's amazing watching some of these drills when you've got a player that's really kind of quiet, sits to the side a little bit. All of a sudden, they're in this one drill. We give them very little direction, and we say go, and it's about the last man standing. And it's amazing seeing players step up and just like, get out of my way. I know what I'm doing, and just taking control. So it's a lot of fun coaching, and the facility is top notch.
Awesome.
Echo, you got anything?
Awesome. Well, let's kind of launch into facilities as you're talking about it. Coach Echo, do you want to kind of go over what Episcopal offers in terms of places to practice and play?
Absolutely. So, like Coach Adams said, the Hershey Athletic Center is just an incredible place for our teams to practice. And the volleyball team specifically has 2 locations because we're in the fall season. We are the only indoor sport, which is really wonderful when we get the air conditioning in those hot Virginia August and Septembers. And so in the upper left-hand corner, you can see what's called Old Centennial. And so that's the varsity home court. It's where we practice every day, and it's where we play all of our games. It's an incredible court, so well maintained. And the bottom left-hand corner is New Centennial, where we're able to set up 2 nets, and our JV primarily practices there. We spend our preseason in there so that we can do breakout sessions, but we often will switch with the JV team and practice in New Centennial so that we can really spread out and do some more concentrated work, perhaps with our setters and middle hitters or with our defensive players like Zoe. In addition to our really awesome court space that we also have the actual athletic center where we can do sessions with our strength and conditioning coaches, with our free weight room, and our cardio equipment is top notch. And then on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see an example of one of our locker rooms. And the greatest thing about the locker room is that it's pretty free of coach influence. And so the players get to decorate their lockers and they get to use the whiteboards to do motivational goals and sayings and really just spend some good quality time before and after practice in that space.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We'll kind of launch into a little bit of asking you guys some questions about your program. And Zoe, I would love to start with you and just ask you overall, if you could describe what a typical practice week looks like in terms of how many practices do you have, how many competitions do you have? What does a typical week look like for you when you're in season?
Yeah, so in season, we practice almost every day. Actually, we do practice every day, except the weekends. So basically we have games almost every other day, I would say. And I would say it switches every home game, every visitors game. But yeah, practices are absolutely fun. The teams, we're all really engaged. We love practicing. We love what we do. We love playing the sport. And it really meshes well with the coach's energy and our energy. And practices are always really fun, but we're also really motivated to do well. And that really shows up in our games as well.
Awesome. Well, while we were talking about practice, what does your day look like in terms of what time is practice? And then what do you usually do to prep? What time do you have to get over to the athletic center? Just give us a little bit of a sense of what your day looks like as an athlete.
Yeah, sure. So I think school ends around, let's say 2-ish. School ends around 2. Afterwards, I would go to tutorial for about an hour. So I would need about 15 minutes to get over there, get changed, and then we go to Old Centennial to practice. Practice starts at 3:45, I believe, and it goes until 5:45. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Coach Adams, could you talk a little bit about what your off season looks like for your volleyball athletes? And obviously it's a boarding school, so it looks a little bit different than some day schools. But what does your typical off season program look like?
Yeah, well, I encourage all of our players to play outside doubles, find some grass courts, find some sand courts, get some extra touches. Doubles provides the biggest opportunity to learn how to finesse the game, read the court, read the other team. And you're always involved because it's just 2 of you on the court. A lot of the kids find a camp or 2 or 3, and they'll do that either together. We haven't been successful at a team camp just yet, but sometimes they clump together. And kids will find what works with them and go. And we put together a weight program, mostly focusing on agility and core strength, because if you can't move to the ball, you're gonna suffer. I mean, you can have a great platform, but getting there. So we try and really work on footwork and stress that. But otherwise, kids put together a little bit of their own workout. They'll log, how often they're running or if they're doing any other kind of cardio or other types of, recreational workouts. So it's a lot. It's diverse.
Awesome. Well, Coach Echo, can you talk a little bit about what your league looks like in terms of what teams you typically compete against and how your tournaments work at the end of the season?
Yeah, so like Coach Adams mentioned earlier in the session, we have two different division strengths for the ISL, the Independent School League. And we have the lower division, which is called single A, and the upper division, which is double A. And so those kind of shift a little bit from year to year with this team that finishes in first place and then the team that finishes in last place, just kind of swapping places. And so we compete against, we can currently compete in the upper division against some really tough teams in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, most notably Flint Hill, Georgetown Day School, Georgetown Visitation, not Georgetown Day School. Oh, no, yeah, Georgetown Day School, and St. Stephen, St. Agnes, our neighboring rival. And so we play all of those teams either home or away once during the year, and then we will enter into the AA tournament. All teams will make it to the tournament. And then we also have the state tournament, which depends on our record and our Virginia State teams. So the top 8 teams will make it from there. And so we tend to really work towards a schedule that will give us the best opportunity to compete against some of the best teams in the state and see if we can make it to that state tournament. We've been ranked, in the upper half of those top 8 teams in the state before. And so we've made the state tournament several times in Coach Adam and my tenure at Episcopal.
Awesome. Zoe, can you touch on, obviously you've been on the varsity team for 3 years. So what's been your favorite part about being a part of that team? And can you talk a little bit about your relationship with your coaches? And obviously at a boarding school, they're more than coaches in your life, and kind of touch on what role your teammates and coaches play for you while you're here.
Yeah. So I came as a freshman. I was 14 years old and I came to preseason not knowing anybody. I'm from Houston. And I didn't feel like I knew what was going on. And then I came to the team and I got to know some of the girls and I loved it. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the teammates, and I understood what it meant to be a part of that team. And I loved and I appreciated that. And since then, I have really worked to cultivate my relationships with my teammates and my coaches, and the experience has been absolutely amazing. And I love preseason, which is why I always love to come back and, meet people and make sure everybody's feeling included and bring the team together. That's something I absolutely love about our team. And my relationship with the coaches has been amazing as well. I can say that honestly enough, Ms. Adams was my, my freshman year advisor. So that was amazing. And Ms. Echo is my English teacher. So I love how it folds. It's a huge cycle and I absolutely love it.
That's awesome. Well, coaches, can you talk a little bit about how your program is different for someone coming in who has never played volleyball or has a little bit of limited experience versus a student who has collegiate aspirations? How do you kind of approach those two students and then everyone that kind of falls in between?
All right. So I love that we get a lot of interest in volleyball every year. And since Zoe mentioned preseason, preseason is for varsity athletes. And for us to determine who the varsity athletes really are, we try and gather film. So if you're a potential varsity athlete, put together just some skills. Your parents can be videoing you, or maybe you play club, you already have some video or whatever. If you want to play varsity, we just need to see technique and skill. Not necessarily, your highlight reel or anything, but if you already have that, send it. It doesn't have to have music in the background, although some people get very carried away. But we're looking to see, do you have the form, the technique, the movement? And then have you played enough to know the basic game? Otherwise, if you're an intermediate to a novice, we want to make you grow. We want you to love volleyball as much as we do, but you might be better suited on the JV team. The JV team will be established after school starts, whereas the varsity athletes are hopeful will come back for preseason, which is usually 10 days before school will begin. And we have 2-a-days. It's a lot of workouts. Like Zoe said, it's a lot of fun. And it really is great. But what we never want to do is have somebody come that doesn't feel like after a couple of days that that's really where they belong. And I never want anyone to not love the sport. So we've done a great job. Coach Echo and I, we watch a lot of films. We talk. We'll call the players at home just to say, hey, what's happening, and really try and make sure we're getting a really good mesh and that the incoming players know what to expect. Because again, it's supposed to be fun. Echo, you have anything you want to throw in there for that?
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it. I think the biggest goal with our novice and intermediate players is a really great understanding of the game and a great understanding of the basic skills that they can kind of take and run with, and then hopefully become those preseason athletes for us in the following season.
Awesome. Well, this is a question for all of you. My last question. What would you say are some of your favorite traditions or memories or moments that you've had in the program that you might want to share?
I can go first, and I might be stealing somebody's thunder with this, but I definitely think, as much as Coach Adams and I, we struggle with the communication factor during the Seminary Hill Cup game, especially when it's at St. Stephen, St. Agnes, and we are literally sitting on the first row of the bleachers with screaming kids behind us. The Seminary Hill Cup, which is our girls' sports opportunity to play our rival St. Stephen, St. Agnes in all JV and varsity girls' fall sports. It's such a great opportunity for our girls to get a huge crowd. During most of our games are during practice, and so we can't really get a huge crowd of students there because they're all at practice as well. And so I think the Seminary Hill Cup is this moment for everybody to stop what they're doing and to really, really support our girls' sports programs. And so I've really loved the camaraderie, not only on our team, but also with St. Stephen's, in supporting girls athletics, and the fact that we have been kicking butt for several years in a row now doesn't hurt either.
I'll go. It's not really a tradition, but I really, really love preseason. We get the athletes when they're fresh from the summer, coming from their camps, and the amount of bonding, laughter. There's no homework yet, so they're just free to be relaxed and play. And we get the evening things where we're either watching a movie, we're doing what is it, sardines? What's it called that we play? Is that sardines? I am like really forgetting, but anyway, we just play games and we laugh, and I get to know the players in a way that if we were just starting school and starting practice at the same time, I don't really get to have that connection. And plus, I love, even when, say we invite 18 back for preseason and I'm cutting it down to 12, that's 6 kids that I know and I will watch and I will help nurture, that are moving to the JV program. And I really, I already have that rapport with them. And then I know that hopefully we can build that up to the varsity level as well. But so that's what I love the most.
I agree with Ms. Echo. I would 100% say that Seminary Hill Cup is an amazing tradition that we have. And from a player's perspective, that is a game where we're all playing for each other, and there's so much adrenaline, and we're all happy, and we're really in the game, and we're here to win. And, it's a really big team effort. So it's amazing.
Great. Well, thank you all, coaches and Zoe, for taking the time to do this. For those of you who are watching, if you have any questions about the volleyball program, anyone here would love to help you out and answer any questions that you might have or talk more about it. I know that especially this year, it might be important to connect. So please let Coach Adams, Coach Echo know if you want to talk more, or Zoe. I'm sure they all would be happy to talk with you. So thanks so much for watching, and let us know how we can help.